What is up, internets? It's your boy Ronan back at you with another video. I'm not gonna be showing my face on the video today because I'm kind of under the weather. I'm feeling pretty bad, so I don't want to have to halfway comb my hair or shave or anything. But the show must go on, kid. You know. So I'm trying to get more videos out. This is my third video, probably in about a month, which is a lot for me. So. If you don't know who I am, my name's Ronan. I'm an artist, designer, illustrator, but most importantly, comic book fan. I got a really cool comic book called The Heavy. You can check it out. Link in the description below. If you like mechs, really hyper detailed illustrations, a lot of cool sci-fi kind of stuff, then check it out. You might like it. So what I'm going to be doing today is one of the earliest comics I wanted to do an illustration of it's called Hip Flask. I talked about it in another video. But it's a comic book about a hippo detective, and it's basically almost like Blade Runner with a hippo. And I did the illustration before I knew that I wouldn't be able to find the issues. I don't know why it's weird, or they're either weirdly numbered or they have a lot of different titles. It's not cohesive, so I don't necessarily know where to find the original issue, all the issues. But anyways, I wanted to put something out, and I just stumbled upon the drawing. I was like, oh, this is actually a pretty good drawing, so I should do something with it. So I decided I'd color it on here. I don't know if I have the actual original video of me inking it, but I probably do. But I don't know where it is. I have so many videos now, it's crazy. Also, I don't want to make these videos too long, so. So this comic book is from first started publishing around 2006. It was published sporadically, I think, all the way up until 2018. But really the ones that really drew me in were the ones done by the artist Jose Ladron. He's a Mexican comic book artist and illustrator. He has his drawing style is very much a mix between it's really like his style is very much Jack Kirby, literally, but the watercolors that he does are just so gorgeous. It also his painting style kind of almost a little bit can remind me of Mobius at times, but yeah, I would say he's a mix between kind of like a Mobius and a Jack Kirby, but. Really, I mean, he really was what sells it. No offense to the other artists like Moratat, he's a good artist too, but it's something about Ladron's style with that watercolor that just really brought it out for me. So anyways, if the premise of the comic book sounds silly, it's because it originally was designed to be a silly comic book. I mean, it wasn't even designed to be a comic book, actually. It was Richard Starkings, the guy who writes the comic book. He has a font company called Comic Craft, and they make comic book fonts. And so essentially Hip Flask would just be like in the ads. He was just almost like the mascot. So whatever font they would be advertising, Hip Flask would be in the ad, you know what I mean? So for instance, if there was sort of a creepy font that they were advertising, some kind of sci-fi creepy font, like he might be in an old 50s retro flying saucer running from a bunch of aliens, you know what I mean? Or if it was kind of a crime noir font, he might be in an office looking like a private eye technically he is a private eye, but you know what I mean, in like a smoky office with like a dame to kill for there, and that was kind of like the whole premise. He was never meant to be a real comic. So I just love the idea that Richard Stark just went, no, I want to make a real comic with him, and it's not going to be silly, it's going to be a serious comic. Which, I mean, that would be pretty difficult when you've already established it as a kind of a campy, silly character. So yeah, I just think it's hard to do, and he pretty much did it though. So the story takes place 200 years in the future, and what it entails is basically like there was this corporation called Mappo that was making like human animal hybrids to make them soldiers, and so yeah, they were basically making an army of animal men basically. So the UN intervened. They had this battle, and they ended up defeating them, the Mappo Corporation. And so they get these guys. They call them the Elephant Men, and they reintegrate. Well, not reintegrate them. They integrate them into society. So, but human beings really in general don't like them. I also don't get a feeling from the issues that I've read how many of them there are, but there don't seem to be a lot of them. So our main character, Hip Flask, works for the information agency. It's a branch of the government that monitors information and collects information to help like law enforcement. So he's pretty much kind of like a private eye, but he also kind of works for the government. So another kind of cool thing about it is, I mean, I just like the whole idea of going back and retroactively making something make sense that you didn't intend to make sense. You know what I mean? So like even his name, Hip Flask, I assume they just named him after like literally a hip flask, you know. Um, but it doesn't make sense in the story for him now because now it's a serious story. So the Mappo Corporation, when they were creating these animal men hybrid dudes, or elephant men rather is what they're called, but when they were making them, they would brand them because they were basically property, and they would kind of almost like a serial number or whatever, and his was like hippopotamus, and he was in Flask like 47A or something like that. So but it didn't take right, or there were blisters or something like that, so it basically didn't take right. So on him it just says Hip Flask, so that's where his name comes from. But I just love the idea of retroactively making stuff make sense. And it's actually kind of a good creative exercise, like for writing, like just to make something and then you have to figure out what it is. So yeah, just another aspect of this comic book that I like. So I made references to Blade Runner several times when describing this comic book, but I mean, that's its biggest inspiration, I would think. I mean, there's nothing about like skin jobs and stuff like that in it, but it's set in a dystopian future in Los Angeles, just like Blade Runner. And I mean, the art direction very much takes a cue from Blade Runner. Some of the best environmental art that I've seen. I mean, I'm really big in the backgrounds and environments. A lot of artists don't like drawing environments. I almost seem to like drawing environments more than the characters. But yeah, it's very much the environments are just amazing. I mean, I'm specifically referring to the Ladron ones. I can't speak to all the other issues because I mean, there's a lot of issues. But from what I've seen, some of them they're really pretty too. Just a sense of just claustrophobia and just really a dystopian environment. So yeah, it's just a cool comic book. I'm trying to track down more and more of them because I'd really like to get more into the comic. But yeah, that's Hip Flask. I was just like I said, looking through some of my work and I found the drawing, so I said, let me do that. So not much more to say here, just watch the rest of it and chill. So that was Hip Flask illustration. Like I said, pretty dope comic. It's kind of funny, actually, like 2 cyberpunk drawings back to back. But yeah, cyberpunk's one of my favorite genres, as I've stated before. But if you enjoyed the illustration, I'll be posting on my Instagram, so go follow me there. And if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, comment. It always helps me a bunch. My next video is probably going to be a review instead of an illustration video, because like I said, I'm trying to make more and more videos more regularly. So stay tuned to the channel for more content, and I will catch you next time. All right, peace.